I saw Spider-Man Brand New Day. I didn't see it once, not twice. I saw it 3 fucking times in the theater. What did I think about it? I thought it was pretty fucking good. I like it a lot. Movie's really good. This is the best performance of Tom Holland Spider-Man we've ever got. Everybody in the movie was really good though. This is the version of like Tom Holland Spider-Man that I've been wanting to see for a minute. I've been wanting to see him swing around New York, fighting villains, you know, doing his own Spider-Man thing by himself. This movie takes place directly after No Way Home, and not directly after, I think like 4 years after, but it's a sequel to No Way Home. Peter is dealing with the repercussions of, you know, him being alone and nobody knowing who he is, you know, for the last 4 years. He doesn't have any friends. He's not talking to anybody except for like the wolf and AI that he has in the movie, Evie. And I like, that's another thing too. I really like that they added the wolf in here. I hope we can see Yuri Watanabe one day. Where the fuck was J. Jonah Jameson? I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, he is not in this movie. They should have added J. Jonah in the movie. He's crucial to a Spider-Man movie. He has to be in there commentating or something. So that was kind of weird why they didn't have him in the movie. But yeah, Peter's on his own. He's lonely. I feel sorry for the guy. He's like being awkward to girls and shit that try to talk to him and everything. He's like, oh, cool. And he like walked away. I was like, come on, Peter, shoot your shot, buddy. Tighten up. This is a more mature story, a more mature version of Tom Holland Spider-Man. He's an adult now. He's like 22, 23, living by himself. He's got that nice ass apartment in New York. Usually, you know, you think apartments like that are expensive as fuck. I'm like, how the fuck is Spider-Man affording some shit like that in New York City? But living in the MCU with all the constant, you know, mayhem and pandemonium that's going on with like superpowered beings and everything, I think the rent in New York is probably lowered a lot. It's probably one of the cheapest cities in the world in the MCU. And plus he dumpster dives and he, you know, can create his own knickknacks for himself. He has a homemade fabricator. That's what helps him. I think he made his own cell phone through that fabricator or something like that. He makes his suits through his fabricator. So, and that's how he made his fucking inhibitor. A lot of people don't like that. I've heard some people say that they don't like that. They think it's a little bit too far-fetched for a character like Peter Parker to come up with a fucking universal inhibitor that will eventually affect the mutants. I'm spoiling right now, by the way. I was supposed to do spoilers later, but Peter creates a freaking a universal inhibitor that can dampen powers. That is huge, because who's gonna get their hands on that? Damage control? And they're gonna use that against mutants, which they did in the movie. Spoilers again. I'm just gonna be jumping all over the place. This ain't gonna be like a linear, concise review. I'm just gonna be jumping all over and tell you the things I liked about this movie, stuff I didn't like. I'll let you know what I didn't like here in a second. But the swinging in this movie, I still think TASM 2, Amazing Spider-Man 2, has the best swinging. This movie, the problem that I had with Tom Holland Spider-Man is with John Watts, the way he shot Tom Holland Spider-Man, it almost seemed like Tom was weightless. Like he just had no aura, no sauce when he was swinging. It was kind of like, it was boring a little bit, especially in Far From Home. Before Mysterio revealed his identity and he went to go pick up MJ, I was like, this swinging is terrible. This sucks. But this movie, it feels like the PS4 games, PS5, Spider-Man 2, all that. It feels just like that. They definitely took reference from those games with the swinging. I still think Amazing Spider-Man 2 has the best like Spider-Man moments in a movie as far as like the fighting and swinging. But the fighting in this movie is great, especially the fight between him and the Hand and the Hulk. The fighting is really good in this movie. Honestly, it might be the best fighting in a Spider-Man movie we have right now. The fighting choreography is you know how I am with fighting choreography. Jackie Chan's fighting team helped with this movie, especially with the ninjas and everything, fighting the Hand. So you could definitely tell they were like enhanced or something, because no regular humans are beating up Spider-Man like that. I don't care how coordinated they are. They're like, the Hand in this movie, they're super powered. I don't care what nobody's saying, or unless Jean gave them some fucking, she's using like enhancing them somehow with her telekinesis and shit while they're fighting Spider-Man, because they're doing shit. They're jumping and up in the air and shit like that. I'm like, they jumping higher than fucking NBA players and shit. The movie feels like it's missing some scenes. Like there's a lot of deleted footage, especially with the villains. I mean, it was cool. I don't mind it being a quick, like, short one shot of him like fighting villains and stuff with like Tarantula. What you see of Tarantula in the trailer, that's it. That's the longest. That is the longest scene he has in the movie. Same thing with who's the other guy? The boomerang dude when he's throwing Spider-Man swinging up in there and dudes throwing boomerangs at him. That's in the trailer. That's the only shot of them in the movie. They don't get no lines, nothing. Tombstone. I thought Tombstone would be like a actual like prominent villain in the movie, but no, he's only has like 10 seconds of screen time. That's being generous. Maybe less than that, like 5 seconds, and he has like one line. I definitely think there's some deleted scenes in this movie. I want to see the director's cut, and because I know Dustin Daniel Cretton said that there's a lot of like scenes that he had to cut that it really hurt his heart. So I mean, you got to cut for time. I get it. So the Jean Grey whole aspect of the movie, I like her introduction into the MCU. It fits the story and the narrative that they're pushing for this particular story. My issue isn't Jean herself. It's the fact that they're using Jean Grey as a Spider-Man villain in a Spider-Man movie. I would have much rather have seen like maybe Mr. Negative or the Jackal, because that's what I thought. I thought they were doing the Jackal in the movie. It would make more sense to me to go with Mr. Negative because he could be a plot point for the reason of why Peter's having these mutations. You know, he could say he's bringing out the darker aspect of Peter or something like that, or he's contributing to his mutation or something like that. But I guess they wanted it. I guess the story makes better sense, you know, with what they went with, because, you know, they wanted that isolation and that loneliness to eventually like morph him into something else, into, you know, the man spider kinda. But I think it would have been cooler for them to use Mr. Negative. Freaking cast the Mr. Negative from the game, shit, because he's damn good as Mr. Negative in the game. Or get that other guy that we saw whispers about. He was rumored before they started filming this movie. I don't know his name. I'll put a picture up. But I want to see Tom Holland's arch nemesis. We have not seen Tom's arch nemesis yet. We got Green Goblin from the Tobey universe, but it was weird that Green Goblin was in No Way Home and he had no interaction with Tobey Spider-Man at all. I was like, this, and then he's automatically going to Tom Spider-Man. He's like his main villain. I was like, that doesn't make, I mean, whatever. I just thought it was a strange dynamic that Tobey's arch nemesis was Tom's main villain in No Way Home. I'd much rather see the MCU version of Norman Osborn instead of, you know, bringing other characters from other universes and have, you know, Tom fight them as his main villains, because I want to see an MCU version of Electro, an MCU version of Doc Ock, an MCU version of Norman Osborn, Harry Osborn, Black Cat. This is stuff they can do in the future. You know, this movie, it's its own good standalone movie, but it sets up so much for the future. Like, I like how they didn't automatically give Ned and MJ's memories back, you know, and MJ's actually dating somebody else, but you get a hint that she kind of like is feeling him at the end of the movie with her feeling her little necklace or whatever or whatnot. And then Ned, he remembered Peter, but he doesn't fully remember him. He just remembers that Peter is Spider-Man in this movie because MJ said his name. But I would much rather see, you know, Harry Osborn, a proper fucking Flash Thompson. I don't like the Flash Thompson we got. I really hope they recast him. What's his name? Tony Ravioli or something like that. He's playing in that new Chris Hansen movie with Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson is on a generational run right now. This motherfucker, he's been in so many movies this year, and he's damn good in every single one of them. The recent one I just saw of him was in the fucking Odyssey, and I wanted to punch him in his fucking face. He was good in that shit. That's how you know a villain is really good. If the actor makes you hate that person he's playing, they're doing a good fucking job. That's how I felt about the governor in The Walking Dead. I hated that dude, and Negan. I was like, wow, what? kill these motherfuckers, dude. I hate them, but they did it. That's how you know an actor's doing his job right. So yeah, I just hope we see more of, you know, Peter's like actual like lore characters. Peter creates the fucking inhibitor for the MCU universe, for the X-Men, mutants, because you know somebody's gonna get that technology like damage control and use that against the mutants. That's the setup for that. So Peter is the fucking Oppenheimer of the MCU when it comes to mutants. Like, that's gonna be a problem. That's gonna be a big problem. I mean, what is that gonna do for Spider-Man and the X-Men? Like, I think probably Magneto is probably gonna hate Spider-Man because of that reason. There's just so much they could do with that. I think, and Peter is smart enough to create something like that. I mean, he's in the comics, he's up there with Reed Richards and Tony Stark and all of them, but he just doesn't fucking implement it and making some fucking money. He'd rather be a goddamn school teacher or something. I'm like, nigga, you know you can start your own company, and be a billionaire like Stark and them, but that's not the point of Spider-Man. Spider-Man isn't like that. And that's what makes him the greatest superhero of all time. You see how it is now? Nigga made, in 2 weeks, Spider-Man Brand New Day has made over $2 billion. People love Spider-Man. He's the greatest superhero of all time. Fucking Superman 2025 couldn't do that shit. I wonder why. Take note. Fucking DCU, get it together. I need y'all to fight the fuck back. Do something. Announce. You need to announce some castings for like the DCU instead of canceling shows, which I'm glad y'all are doing, because y'all haven't earned that right to make B-list character shows yet. Like, a fucking nobody wants to see a Jimmy Olsen and Gorilla Grodd series right now. We want to see Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, Aquaman. All the core Justice League characters, the A-list characters. We don't care about a fucking Amanda Waller TV show, James. You haven't earned that yet. You have not earned the right to make B-list character shows like that. If those characters were contributing to the bigger DCU and like bringing in big characters, yeah, maybe. But you haven't earned the right to make shows like that yet. You have not announced a casting for Batman, and when is the Brave and the Bold happening? What the fuck are y'all doing over there? And then Supergirl was absolute shit. And Lanterns comes out on Sunday. I think I'm gonna do a live watch over on that. If that show is bad, the last trailer was actually pretty decent. I saw the last trailer; it was actually pretty decent. But I already don't like the fucking suits. That Hal Jordan Green Lantern suit is absolutely abysmal. That shit is horrendous. So if the show is good enough, maybe I'll look past that. But right now, that suit, I don't like how it doesn't come from the ring. I hate that about the Green Lanterns in the DCU. They don't create their suits from their ring. That's how it's always been. Except, but they're trying to do this the Earth 2 shit or whatever with those weird suits that they had on and shit. It looked like it's made out of fucking leather. What are we doing? The X-Men 2000 suits again? Are we going back to that bullshit with the leather and the jacket? Bruh. The material. I'm rambling. I'm talking about DC. I'm supposed to be talking about Spider-Man. Anyway, sorry, I'm looking at my talking points. Let's just get back into the movie. So, the dynamic between Punisher and Hulk, or Punisher and Spider-Man, I really liked it. They're like, you know, big brother, little brother. I wonder what that Staten Island fight thing was all about. What happened? They don't have to show me a scene or nothing like that. Just what's the backstory behind that? It was funny. Punisher was dialed down. He's not as crazy as he is in his regular show. I mean, they have to do that, you know, for Spider-Man. It's more lighthearted for kids and everything. So Punisher's he's not dialed to 11 like how he usually is in his series and shorts and stuff. So putting him with Tom Holland Spider-Man was actually a really good, you know, it was something new that I didn't know I actually wanted. Now I just want to see Peter hang out with Daredevil. I want to see him interact with Daredevil, Punisher, and Kingpin. That needs to be done. It can be done. Sony and Marvel need to get their shit together with that. I don't understand how Spider-Man was not either referenced a lot in Daredevil season 2, or at least had a fucking quick scene of him swinging around in the city, because he's in the Brand New Day, he's beloved by everybody, but there's no mention of him in Daredevil Born Again season 2. So this is inconsistent. We finally got fucking Hulk back, Savage Hulk. I love this. The damage control scene when, you know, Hulk starts transforming. He's no banner, no girl, only Hulk. I was like, yep, we're back. We're fucking back. Thank God. I got tired of looking at Professor Hulk. I think that was everybody's least favorite version of the Hulk, even though it happened in the comics and it's comic accurate. But I think the audience must rather have Savage Hulk. I wonder where they put him at in the movie. They said he was like put in some psych ward or something like that. Why didn't fucking Peter go down there and say this wasn't him? He was controlled by some girl. He should have went down there and talked to them about that or something. Or unless Bruce wanted to go to that psych ward or whatever. But you would think Spider-Man would fucking like vouch for him a little bit. But he just like, you know, take him, whatever. Go to the psych ward. I was like, all right. It's kind of fucked up, Peter, but I don't think Hulk and Tom Holland Spider-Man are going to be in Doomsday. I think maybe Doomsday is happening the same time as Spider-Man Brand New Day. That's probably why they're not in the movie. They're not going to be in Doomsday at all. But there's no reason why Spider-Man wouldn't. If Doomsday happens after Brand New Day, there's no reason why Spider-Man wouldn't be involved in the fight. So I don't know. They'll have to explain that a little bit in Doomsday. And that this movie is set in a weird timeline, because I don't know specifically where to place this movie in the timeline of the MCU. I don't know where to place it. I don't know if it's after Brand New Day or Born Again season 2, or if it's during Doomsday or before Doomsday. Like I don't know yet. I would think it's after Born Again season 2, because Fisk isn't the mayor. So it has to be after, I would assume, but I don't know. I think that's pretty much it. My overall thoughts of this movie. I really enjoyed it. I just, you know, that one scene with MJ and Spider-Man on the rooftop. That is so fucked up. I think Jean Grey wants Spider-Man's cheeks because there was no reason for that. She didn't have to fucking do all that, kiss him and then and act like she remembered him and shit. That was fucked up. This dude, and then you see the reaction on his face when he thought that she remembered him. I was like, that is so, like, Jean. That's what I'm saying. Like, they made Jean so dark in this movie. This is a much darker version of Jean Grey. She is an absolute villain in here. There's one part where she kills a guy. She just fucking jumps in some random dude's body and then steps him out in the street and lets him get hit by a car. I was like, either he's dead or he's not walking ever again, because the car just hit him from the side and fucking shattered his legs. I was like, what was the point of killing that guy? So I think the public has a good reason to hate mutants based off this right here. I mean, Jean has a reason for why she was doing shit in the movie, why she was acting all wild and going against damage control, but there's a lot of things she didn't have to do. It was a straight up villainous. And that's one of my gripes about this movie. It didn't have to be. I don't think it had to be Jean Grey, the main villain in this movie. It could have been somebody else. It should have been like Mr. Negative or Jackal, because I thought Keith David was in the movie. I saw when I went to Comic-Con. I saw Keith David in a jewelry store down in the gas lab area. He walked in with his wife in the jewelry store, and I was like, wait a minute, who is this dude? I've seen his, because I saw him. I saw his face, and I was like, I know you, but I didn't think that, that's Keith David at the time. And when I left afterwards, I was like, oh wait a minute, that was Keith David. I should have asked him. But when he walked in, I was like, wait a minute, you're an actor. He's like, I am. And I looked over to my brother. I was like, Miles, I said, look who it is. And then Keith. You could tell Keith was trying to like not be seen or whatever. He didn't want like that much attention. So he just kept looking at the little jewelry case with his wife or whatever. And then Miles was like, oh shit. And then he said something to my cousin, and my cousin walked up to him and was like, "I love your work," and he was like, "Thank you," and then we walked out. So it was real quick. But if I would have thought at that moment, you know how things are just so happening, and there's a bunch of people out there, you kind of get like scatterbrained a little bit. So I didn't think that. I was like, damn, I should have said something to him about the movie. But he only has one fucking line in the movie, and it's from a goddamn YouTube video, and it was in the trailer like he was like speaking as a professor or something at some event. I was like, whatever. I guess maybe he got paid a hefty amount for that one little piece of dialogue or something. He's just a fucking YouTube voice in the movie. But yeah, overall, like I said, I really liked it. This is Tom Holland's best Spider-Man movie, I think. This is his best performance as Peter Parker Spider-Man, I think. The swinging is excellent. Still not as good as TASM 2. I think TASM 2 has the best like Spider-Man moments as far as swinging. I think this is a strong emotional character study on a Spider-Man in a Spider-Man movie. This is a character study, so even though there are other like MCU Marvel characters in there, this is still a Spider-Man centered story. We got Savage Hulk. I really like that. He's back as a major plus. This clearly sets up a lot with like the X-Men and stuff that's going to happen in the MCU in the future. I can't wait for all this. My main criticism is, the arch nemesis problem. Spider-Man does not have a actual arch nemesis villain yet directly for him. I think we need to see a Norman Osborn here pretty soon in the next couple movies. In the future, we need to see Harry Osborn. We need to see all that. We need to see Otto Octavius. We need to start bringing those characters in. Black Cat. I think Black Cat and the symbiote should be a big fucking thing in the sequel, or at least bring in Daredevil or Kingpin. Something. I think Jean worked as a character, but I just don't particularly like her as a Spider-Man villain. That's my only two gripes about this movie, really. And I want to see a director's cut of this movie. I think there's a lot of scenes that are missing from this movie that they probably had to put on the cutting board that I know probably hurt Dustin's heart, but every scene served the story properly, and it kept everything concise and kept everything moving at a certain pace, and I never got bored throughout the whole entire movie. I didn't. I was interested in the story the whole entire time. So my rating, I think I'll give this movie a 95. Yeah, I'll give this movie a 95% out of 100. That's an A plus. And that's an A. It's a solid A. So now we're gonna watch a quick breakdown from Emergency Awesome. It's gonna some top 10 what the fuck questions. He's probably got a lot of questions I'm asking that I just went over in my review. So yeah, we're gonna get right into it. They caught that shit.
Welcome back, everyone.
Yeah, this is another one too. There's a post-credit scene in the movie, and I'm just like confused of how is somebody fucking able to see Spider-Man in that app? Because the whole app in the movie is based on like the sightings of Spider-Man. Who the fuck is in space and able to see Spider-Man in space? Unless it's somebody from the Sword space station that can see him out there. I don't understand how the fuck how somebody can even see him in space in that post-credit scene. That's weird. That is a post-credit scene that did not need to be in there. Unless they're going to explain it later on or something. That was a waste of time.
It's Charlie. There were many massive things Spider-Man Brand New Day did during the movie that will have major impacts on the future of the MCU, and a lot of the big questions that the film never answers or addresses, so we will break it all down.
Yeah.
Addressing the really big elephant in the room, yes, my channel did get hacked last week. It was kind of scary for a couple days, but YouTube is trying to fix stuff. So if you notice weird things with my channel right now the next couple of days, that's why YouTube is trying to fix everything.
Oh, shit.
Many thanks to them for helping. This was not a fun experience. I would not recommend it to anyone, and
that's out of the game.
Repeat it.
That little scene, that little dodge right there, that's out of the first game.
If you have not seen it yet, starting with one of the biggest questions, whether or not the bus Jean Grey is on at the end of the movie, which is headed to upstate New York, like it's headed north of New York, it's headed to Westchester specifically, where Professor X and the X-Mansion are located. As of this movie, we have not seen any Professor X or X Mansion in the MCU up to this point, so does one secretly already exist, or is she just heading to hide out in motels in some secret place she finds randomly in upstate New York for the time being, until the events of, say, like Avengers Secret Wars or that new X-Men reboot movie in 2028, after the soft reboot in the MCU? All we know about her before the events of the movie is that at least a year ago or so, maybe a little bit less than that, her sister was abducted by William Metzger in Damage Control in the New York City park. This would have been after the events of Spider-Man No Way Home, and they said their mother abandoned them to the foster system when their powers manifested, when their X gene manifested when they were younger, and for several years they were just in and out of different foster homes, and eventually wound up here, early 20-somethings in New York City. Presumably when they hit 18, they left the foster system, and they're meant to be about the same age.
I think Peter's older than Jean in this movie, though.
Age is Peter Parker, and he's about 22 or so based on how long ago Spider-Man Far From Home happened. The movie never actually says what her date of birth is. I think that information on her document Peter sees is redacted or out of frame. It's probably going to be a reference to her comic book birth date, just move forward in the timeline to account for how old she is in present day. Once we started seeing mutants pop up, like Miss Marvel, Namor, then Wonder Man, there were a lot of theories that there were more mutants that we hadn't seen in the MCU, and maybe a version of Professor X already existed, and he was just using his telepathy to hide everyone from view. But I don't think that's the case, based on the way that Kevin Feige has talked about Avengers Doomsday, the way the trailer's going down, and the way they're talking about Avengers Secret Wars in the soft reboot that they're doing to the MCU. Kevin Feige already said that they're using the end of Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars run to inspire sort of like a soft multiverse retcon of the MCU after Secret Wars. Not like a full reboot, but a little reboot retuning things. And I think that's when a ton of the major core X-Men characters that we haven't seen yet for the X-Men 2028 reboot movie will just pop up, and they'll treat it like they've always been on the MCU, and nobody thinks that it's weird. And they'll just say it's due to the reality warping at the end of Secret Wars when they fix reality, but with a couple quote-unquote minor changes, and the minor changes are just mutants popping up all over the MCU. So if you're taking the end of this movie literally, it would just mean that Jean Grey is headed on a bus to a random hideout in upstate New York for the next couple of years until Avengers Secret Wars happens in the timeline. But Kevin Feige and Marvel fans are winking because the reference is also that she's traveling to her X-Men 2028 solo movie in a couple years, like she's headed to Westchester to the X-Mansion. It just hasn't appeared there yet.
That's what I would think.
So if you know, you know. Next big question, what was Peter doing for money and how did he pay his rent? Mr. Dickovic needs that rent money. Pay me my rent.
Probably his YouTube. He has a YouTube channel, right? In the movie, I think he did.
I made the joke that he's selling RAM and GPUs that he dumpster dives because of the AI tech crunch ruining computer parts economy around the world. Those two things would make him so much more money than trying to sell pictures of Spider-Man to
And he has
J.
a
Jonah
fabricator.
Jameson. He also has that YouTube channel with videos of Spider-Man. And since Spider-Man is so popular, that would probably be earning him a decent amount of money to pay bills.
Yeah.
And he has his phone, so he'd be able to take a lot of selfie videos of himself around the city as Spider-Man. Like, how are you getting these crazy videos of Spider-Man? Certainly not because I am Spider-Man and I'm just taking videos of myself. His apartment in Queens was filled with asbestos, according to his landlord, violating probably every building code in the city. So his landlord probably cut him a steal on it in exchange for not reporting him to the authorities and for cleaning out all the asbestos and fixing it up so that when Peter does eventually leave for some other crappy apartment, he can turn around and sell it for like a crazy amount of money.
For New York.
He's letting him squat here for a little while on like a very small amount of money.
Yeah.
So his actual living expenses aren't that much. All the tech he gets is dumpster dive from different places. Like, he's not stealing stuff literally, but he's just grabbing it from other places, cobbling stuff together. For people asking if he's still getting money from Iron Man after
this nigga made a fabricator with parts that made a metal inhibitor and makes it suit. This nigga is a genius. Spider-Man is that's what I love. Spider-Man is supposed to be a fucking genius.
Pulling stuff together. For people asking if he's still getting money from Iron Man after his death, if Pepper Potts and Stark Industries still has a mystery Spider-Man account that they'll just give him access to. They forgot Peter in the spell, but Pepper Potts would remember Tony Stark's relationship with Spider-Man and all the Spider-Man tech that they built for him. So it is possible that he got a chunk of money during all that.
Maybe. I don't think so.
Like money left over from his time working with Iron Man. Kevin Feige has said mostly the idea in this movie is that he's friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, ground level, and he's on his own, living on his own steam. So I don't think that he has some giant pile of unlimited cash from Stark Industries. If he has any money left over from that, it's probably a very small amount.
Yeah. Something
The Human
small.
Torch was denied.
It's hard that he ain't got nothing.
All the Avengers got paid. We learned this from Sam Wilson, Captain America. The Human Torch could not get a bank loan. Tony Stark just covered all the Avengers' bills. He didn't pay them salaries. And without the new Avengers base, which isn't meant to be around anymore, it was destroyed, that's gone. Val is the one funding the new Avengers, and they're a completely different entity, and Val is definitely not giving Spider-Man any money. Next really big one, did Spider-Man create the mutant inhibitor collars from the X-Men comics? And that's a pretty easy question to answer. Yes, it'll be Damage Control who takes that to the next level.
Yep.
They basically do that at the end of the movie already.
Yeah.
William Metzger says, thanks to Spider-Man, we can control access to your powers now. And they have like his janky version of the inhibitor hooked up to their systems.
Yeah.
In future movies, they'll probably just refine that into more powerful, more mobile versions, and many, many more of them that they can just slap on mutants that they arrest. They set up Damage Control in this movie to be very, very anti-mutant in Marvel Phase 7.
That movie was horrible, by the way.
So Spider-Man is kind of like the Oppenheimer of the
literally
MCU
what I
right
just
now
said.
going into Marvel Phase 7, where he'll look back and feel extreme guilt over the use of the collars in the future. Like, sorry guys, my bad. And all the X-Men will probably be pissed at him for it, even though Jean Grey and him sound like they're ride or die friends at the end of this movie. Next
I think she
really
wants
big
to
one,
fuck
what
him.
happens to the Hulk at the end of the movie? He said Jean Grey broke something in his mind, and now he can no longer control the Savage Hulk's mind inside of him, meaning he can't stop him from emerging when he wants to or when he loses control. So it kind of resets Bruce Banner back to Hulk the way he was before the events of the Incredible Hulk movie, where he could change to Savage Hulk on a dime. It was viewed as more of a tragic force of chaos than a hero, and treated kind of like a villain by a lot of the other characters.
Yeah.
At the end of the movie, the news broadcast just says he was taken to a psych ward, probably a Damage Control prison-controlled psych ward. Even though William Metzger escaped at the end of the movie, Damage Control as a government entity still exists and is still very...
What that show did to Abomination is unforgivable. She-Hulk is like... It's one of the worst MCU shows ever made.
...reactive. Presumably during Avengers Doomsday, he might still be trapped there to explain why he's not around helping the Avengers fight Doctor Doom, but I do think he will be in Secret Wars as the Hulk, and they'll just use the reality warping on Battleworld that Doctor Doom does at the end of Doomsday to do a version of the Hulk storyline from Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars run. Maybe we'll see how many Hulks show up. They might tone that down quite a bit.
Yeah. Maybe.
There was some concept art that leaked out earlier with him standing next to Scar, his son, and She-Hulk, so we'll see if they show up during Secret Wars. I'm expecting Secret Wars to be very different from Jonathan Hickman's run, though, with just some Easter eggs for that comic book.
That was terrible.
This is my son.
Yo, what the fuck is that cut? Who lined this nigga up? They need to be shot. This what is going on with this nigga's mitt? Who decided to do that to the cat? Bro, if you look at Scar in the comments compared to what they did to him in this show, this is like crazy. This is crazy.
Speak of the devil, next big one. What happened to his son Scar?
Yeah.
He's still on Earth.
What the fuck is this
What's
shit?
he doing? Presumably, Bruce Banner has some other Avengers or characters watching over him, checking on him while he's teaching at Empire State University. But maybe Scar is also living on that secret base that Iron Man built for Hulk that we saw during She-Hulk.
Maybe.
A place away from society. My assumption right now is that Scar is probably just stashed on that place. Next really big one, though, what happened to William Metzger? They said on the news that he escaped and couldn't be located at the end of the movie. Even though Damage Control still exists, somebody else probably just takes control of it while he's escaped. For the most part, I believe that Marvel wants to bring him back as a larger X-Men villain when they start doing the X-Men movies. Maybe he'll return as part of Damage Control.
I think he was. I think the actor was good in the movie. I just think the character was boring. That's what I'm saying. We need a much better Tom Holland Spider-Man nemesis.
Control. The way it make it sound with Damage Control is that Yelena helps the government investigate what Damage Control is up to, all the shady stuff. But the way that Val plays things with the new Avengers, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of that gets swept under the rug over the next couple of movies, and Damage Control still exists, they're still very active, and the government kind of looks the other way, especially when mutants, really powerful ones, start popping up all over the place. Speaking of which, next really big one, why wasn't Punisher arrested when he took Spider-Man to the hospital? Wanted by the police on numerous charges, including murder.
He's
would be arrested
fucking serial killer.
the minute he steps out in broad daylight in this movie. Why hasn't Damage Control arrested him before this? Why didn't they try to arrest him
that's a good question.
even before he even did anything? My early assumption there is that William Metzger, when he was still active, like during the early parts of the movie, was just looking the other way because Punisher was doing some of his cleanup and dirty work, and he didn't mind because William Metzger was outed as being a super shady.
Punisher should be moving in the real world. Punisher should be moving like Batman. He should not be seen out in public unless it's at nighttime. Because nigga, you are risking being arrested on site or shot.
Person anyway, so he probably wouldn't mind if the Punisher was breaking laws to do his dirty work. He already showed how he had the hand working for him, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was just pissed that he couldn't get the Punisher on his payroll in a legit kind of way. And I think the explanation for the end of the movie at the hospital, too, is that the police and the hospital workers were so sympathetic to Punisher trying to save Spider-Man because they love Spider-Man so much that they just looked the other way briefly, like, we're not going to arrest you right now, but make sure you get gone before we do decide to arrest you. Like, if you stick around here longer, we will definitely throw you in prison, so please get out of here.
I guess.
Next really big one, at the end of the movie, did Ned really remember Peter and his memories from high school of him? Or does it have something to do with him having an affinity for magic? Because that was a big deal during No Way Home, is that Ned did have an affinity for magic. He could become a sorcerer if he wanted to someday.
They could use that and make him Hobgoblin in the future or something.
In the actual text of the movie, and what they want you to believe, is that Ned was just piecing information together because MJ said that Peter was Spider-Man, so he remembered Peter was Spider-Man when Peter introduced himself as Peter, and he remembered him from the party earlier. So I think it was Ned just putting two and two together. And I do think that his muscle memory was not affected by the spell, even though his actual memories of Peter in high school were affected. Those were rates. Like, he doesn't remember eating cheeseburgers with Peter or like playing with Legos. He just remembers playing with Legos with someone else. He doesn't remember who that person was. So the reason he probably remembers the handshake is because he remembers doing the handshake. He just doesn't remember who he did the handshake with.
That's a cool handshake,
so I don't think at the end of the movie that they get their memories back. The spell is still active. They're building new memories, and they remember some things with like missing information from high school, like partial memories that just seem kind of wonky and weird. And now, because of what Peter has told them, like, oh, this is the reality, this is what happened, me changing your memories, they now know that all those weird times, it was Peter, but they still didn't get the actual memories of him in that moment back. Probably another good question, too. Did Doctor Strange also forget Peter because of the spell? My assumption is that yes, that's kind of the way it works in the comics, too. But if Peter went and introduced himself to Doctor Strange and explained things to him, he would remember Spider-Man first. So then he would probably understand what Peter was talking about when he said, we did a spell where we erased my memory from everyone. So Doctor Strange would just clock it immediately and understand. But he still wouldn't get the memories back unless he did another subsequent spell to get the memories back. I'm sure there's a spell that would actually do that too.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Peter spends a lot of time with Yelena in this movie, so a big question is, when did Peter meet Yelena? When did their relationship start? When did he start getting help from her?
Right.
My early assumption is that it's a relatively recent thing, and it happened after the events of the Thunderbolts movie when Yelena started living permanently in New York City. Like, they started acting as the new Avengers, so Peter was trying to go to the Avengers for help, and they just happened to be the Avengers at the time. Another really good question is why the new Avengers viewed an Omega-level telepath as small potatoes and not worth their time.
Yeah, that whole small potatoes, big potato shit, like, bitch, I fought fucking Thanos. You see what I just did in No Way Home? And you can't even fucking, you and the Avengers with a Z, Thunderbolts, can't even fucking lift a rock up together. You got whooped by the Sentry. You talking about that's big potato shit? Get the fuck out of my face. If I was Spider-Man, I would have roasted her ass.
On what was happening with Damage Control and Jean Grey. My early assumption here is because they didn't think that she was a powerful telepath until the end of the movie. So had things continued naturally, like if things had gotten worse, then the new Avengers would have gotten involved, like the Sentry would have gotten involved as well too. For those of you asking too, could Jean Grey mind control the Sentry in the Void character? And the answer is yes, but only after she fully came into her powers.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be terrifying?
And as she gets older,
New York, R.I.P. World.
The Phoenix or
Next
something.
really big one was what happened on Staten Island between the Punisher and Spider-Man. My early assumption, because it's not based on any comic book event, is that Punisher was just trying to take down some villains. Spider-Man was also trying to take them down and saw Punisher almost die, saved him, and also tried to stop him from killing whoever the villains were, and that just led to them meeting each other.
Yeah, okay.
They mostly use this as their Budapest, like the Hawkeye Black Widow thing, where you never learn what happened in Budapest till like 10 years later, so maybe they'll just continue referencing it when Punisher crosses over in the Spider-Man movies if they happen in the future. And one of the other big ones is how the Spidey tracker works and is active during the post-credit scene and tracking multiple versions of Spider-Man if they're on Battleworld in that post-credit scene. My early assumption is they'll just explain that Peter went to bed one night in his Queen's apartment, like he just happened to be in his apartment. Then Doctor Doom warps reality. So for a second, he's still on the MCU Earth, and Doctor Doom warps reality. And right before he does that, on the screen, you see the Bifrost scream past frame. This normally wouldn't work. Like, the app doesn't work like this. So this is just Marvel having some fun in context. Like, it wouldn't detect the Bifrost screaming past it in the app. You'd have millions of people wondering what would just happen. Like, what did we just watch here?
The Bifrost?
And at the very end, it detects another version of Spider-Man in outer space after reality has warped and we've gotten to full battle world. So the real answer with why the Spidey Tracker is still working in this context is because Marvel is breaking the rules of how the Spidey Tracker is supposed to work. That's like the technical answer, is they're just having a little bit of fun with the metaphor of the Spidey Tracker.
I don't like it.
The actual Spidey Tracker would not work this way.
I don't like it.
And for those of you asking what happened to the piece of the symbiote left in the No Way Home post-credit scene, it's still in the MCU. They didn't retcon that in Venom The Last Dance. The piece that they retconned in Venom The Last Dance was in the Venom universe, not inside the MCU. So the piece of the symbiote is still inside the MCU. But I think that Kevin Feige mostly wants you to forget about that scene so that they can wait to give him the symbiote in Avengers Secret Wars in some different way. Like, they'll have their own version of him in the symbiote.
That's what I think he'll get it.
But it'll be,
and he'll keep it into his next movie.
1980 Secret Wars when he originally got the symbiote in the comics. There's 1,000 other questions that the movie brings up but never answers, so I'm sure there's a bunch that I didn't get to in this video. If you do have any that I didn't address, just write them below in the comments. Everyone post all your reactions in the comments below. I know there's going to be a bunch of X-Men questions for the next year until they actually film that new X-Men movie, but hopefully we will have some more.
Speaking of that, we got some castings for that. Who they cast as Cyclops, what's his name? Kit Connor. That is a good casting. I haven't seen any of his work, but he looks like fucking Scott Summers. Everybody they got, the girl that's playing Emma Frost, what's her name? Samara Weaving. That's Hugo Weaving's niece. And now that I look at her, yeah, I can see it. Y'all have the same like facial structure and shit like that. She looks like his niece, but she's fucking bad though. I kiss her right on her lips. And you know, we got freaking Sadie Sink as Jean Grey. So we got a decent, castings for the X-Men. I forgot to say, yeah, this is my favorite Spider-Man suit in live action. Close second is the TASM suit, but this right here is my favorite suit. I like the wrinkles and everything it has in it. It's perfect. Yeah, so that's everything. That's my review, and that is the breakdown for Emergency Awesome. Make sure you get over to his channel and subscribe. He always has dropping some good knowledge on stuff like this for behind the scenes and whatnot. What did you think about Spider-Man Brand New Day? Did you like it? Is there anything what do you think about this? What do you think is going to happen in the future with the X-Men specifically and Spider-Man? Do you want to see more Spider-Man lore characters like Norman Osborn, Harry, Doc Ock? Do you think they should recast Wolverine? Let me know in the comments section below. I know it's a lot of questions, but I was like engaging with you guys. So yeah, I'll catch you wombats later. Goodbye.